Hello and welcome to another episode of Around the House. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, and we talk about home improvement, home repair, remodeling, anything to do with home improvement. And we have a variety of guests from time to time. And tonight we have a guest in studio, which ought to be a very interesting show tonight. We're joined by Mr. Darrell Ford of South Shore Gutter Monkeys. I love that name, Gutter Monkeys. But we're going to talk a little bit about new installations, different things relating to gutter cleaning. There's a lot to talk about. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Darrell Ford, and he can tell you a little bit about what his company is all about. Thanks for coming in, Darrell.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having
problem.
me. My company's primarily a cleaning company. We clean gutters, so you don't have to. That's kind of...
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. And it's kind of a niche business. A few years back, while I got into this, and I, like you, in construction for a lot of years, didn't want to go back up on a ladder, and my wife said, you got to clean the gutters. Kind of ran into a friend that did this down the Cape, and it kind of flourished from there. The service-based industry that he ran and did my house, I was kind of blown away. And I said, wow, this really kind of works. So we got into it. I work primarily, he's my partner down the Cape. We clean gutters, we install, and we service our clients. And that's our goal, to service our clients.
That's a big thing.
And we're very proud of what we've been doing, and so far it's working quite well.
Well, let me ask you quickly, why do we even need gutters? That's the basic question. Why do we need gutters so bad? And I know in my heart why I want gutters, but again, explain to the viewers why you really should have gutters on your house. Some people actually don't have gutters, and they look at it like there's no maintenance if I don't have a gutter, right? But what's the
actually,
downside to that?
I got called out last week to Duxbury. A gentleman just bought this house. He wanted to know what the gutters, and all the gutters were brand new in his house, and he had a garage with probably a 3 or 4 foot overhang. And he asked me, do I need gutters? And it was set up for gutters, the fascia boards, the trim boards. And I said, do you need them? No, you don't. First of all, this is a slab. It's not a cellar. The overhang is going to pitch the water far enough away from the slab so you're not going to worry about freezing in the winter. Aesthetically, you may want to match the house, but that's totally up to the individual.
Right.
A lot of houses today need them just for the simple fact the overhang's not far enough. That water's coming straight down, and it's literally resting right on your foundation. Exactly where you don't want it in the winter.
Moisture.
Yeah, so we take care of that drainage system. It's probably the most important thing of your house is your roof drainage system.
Well, let me ask you on talking about gutters, again, not to go off that, but there's so much to talk about, and I'm trying to get every little bit in that I can before the show is over. We had a bad winter back about 3 years ago, and
Correct.
People were getting ice dams and all kinds of problems. And my neighbors went out and they bought, they hired people to come in and put these gutter helmets, whatever you want to call them, under the shingles over the gutters so they won't get any leaves in the gutters. But they also had to have an electrician come out, and they ran some kind of a wire through that whole thing. It was very expensive, he told me to do. I can't remember what they charged, and now that's on some kind of a thermostat or what have you. When it gets to a certain temperature, that coil heats up. Mm-hmm. Is that something, I mean, you don't do things like that, right?
We don't. We actually repair them, though. Not the electrical part of it. We just did 2 houses, and they're all falling apart. They're little clips. They clip underneath the roofing shingle and then kind of snap into the roofing shingle.
That's how they hold that?
They hold it in, and they're in a Y-shaped form.
Yeah.
And then there's wires that run in. We do take care of them.
They got to get debris in them, though.
Yeah, and it's a pain for us to clean them, but we still take care of them when we're up there, sure. Set them up right. We don't do gutter guards, gutter helmets. To be very honest with you, we're taking them off literally probably 3 to 5 houses a week. And the problem is, that people didn't know, because I was going to put them on my house again.
I'm thinking backing up.
A major, major cost for us 3 or 4 years ago, because I was going with the aluminum caps that fit kind of on, screw in. And now, 3 years later, that I didn't do it, and I'm in this business, people are calling me, I have gutter guards, and stuff's growing out. So we need them cleaned. So I'll get there, and we take them off, and we'll take a picture and show the client, you know, here's what you got growing. Here's the issue. The issue is gutters are made, they do clog. There's no doubt about that. They will get clogged. But they're made to flush themselves out, almost like a bathtub.
Okay.
The holes are big enough. Leaves and debris that get in there, they kind of crumble after a period of time. Heavy rains come, they flush.
I've seen people put screens in that, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Exactly.
Because it's a catch-all for the...
And exactly. We take them out, and if people want them back in, we put them back in. But we try to educate the client that the gutter guards are not working, because now the heavy rains are not getting in. That's going right over. It's cascading right over the roof.
What's the sense of having a gutter? Exactly.
So they work perfectly fine in a nice misty rain.
Yes.
Okay, but it's a rainforest in there. The sun doesn't get in. It's always moist, and the mildew, the mushrooms, the small little trees, they grow and they start growing through.
I never would have thought of that.
So literally, people are calling us going, just take them off. Take them off. I'll just call you once a year to clean them.
Wow. I never would have thought. Thank you for sharing that, because I never thought of that the moisture stays in there, and there's, like you say, the sun can't get in there, so you've got issues with mushrooms. Different an acorn gets in there, and it just sprouts a little tree. Next thing you know.
Well, the thing is, there's always debris getting in your gutter. There's always roof runoff, dirt. Dirt is fine. Well, we find out after a period of 2 or 3 years, in all the gutter guards, the dirt, the fine dirt, falls to the bottom.
Right.
It can't be flushed out, like I told you, because the rain can't get in there heavy enough to push it. So that's fine dirt that forms on the bottom. Everything grows. It's beautiful loam. It's amazing.
Compost.
And the longer they're up there, they fill right to the top.
Oh my word, that's amazing. I never would have thought that. So if you're listening and you want those gutter guards, you better think hard about that, because I contemplated that myself, because I'm at the point where I don't want to be climbing a ladder anymore either, you know, with my knees and all. Shouldn't I get a gutter guard? Maybe that would solve the problem. But maybe down the road, what I'm thinking of, just hiring someone like yourselves to just come out on it. Now, to clean them, would it be something, you do it at the end of the fall, normally after the trees have shed their leaves?
Yep.
And would you do it in the spring? Because I know there's a lot of little crud that comes off the
Late
trees in the spring.
That's what we do. That's
Twice a year.
Most of our clients do. And some, depending on where you live. I mean, if you're not in a wooded area, once a year. And that's sufficient for a lot of people.
Now, Darrell, share with the viewers, if you might, where is your coverage area now that you'd go out to? Where do you do the whole South Shore?
From the bridge all the way up into Boston. I have to check a house out in Brookline next week that we were looking at.
That's fantastic. So you got a few guys working for you?
Yeah, and we're in Westwood. We're all on that side too, Newton.
And what's your lead time? Say if somebody called you to do a job, usually how long does it take you to?
Right now we're booking out the end of the month, at this month right now. So we're about 2 weeks
That's not
out.
too bad. And what's do you have a website?
We do, SouthShoreGutterMonkeys.com.
Simple.
Simple.
And how about a phone number where people can reach you?
781-421-1111.
There you go. So I might be calling you myself, because the back of my house, it's 3 stories, and my ladder won't even reach that high.
We carry a 40-footer on our
There you
truck.
go. Now, how do you price a house by the footage? Linear
Very
footage?
simple. $1.50 a linear foot. You're a contractor. You already probably know. So you'd probably do me a favor going, I have 110 linear feet of gutter.
I have 100 linear feet.
And you'll figure it out. It's 150. And it's that simple. I'm not here to take advantage of anybody.
Right.
That's our price. And what we do, a little different than Joe Gutter Guy or whoever, we tune everything up. We know that the gutters have pulled away. And we talked about this earlier. Nails. Nails always pull away from the fascia board.
Right.
So we have 1.5" Galvy screws, hex
Right in
head,
there.
boom, 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 and we're hitting all the ties all the way down.
Sweet.
So we know, then we're taking, in the summertime we'll flush them out. This time of year we'll drop a small screw down. If it doesn't come out, We're taking the whole downspout down.
I was going to ask you about that. You check the downspouts to make sure they're not a clog in there.
All the time.
And then you just rinse it out or whatever you have to. If you, like you say, you drop something down there, if it comes out, you know it's clear.
Yeah, one of our small zip screws that we use to do the elbows,
Yeah.
we'll just drop that down. And if there's elbows missing, straps missing on the house, that's all included.
That's interesting. Now, we had done a show way back when. It's back in the around the house archives somewhere. I don't know where it is, but we did this house, and Kevin, my producer, might remember. We were talking about keeping the gutters clean and maintenance of the fascia and the soffit and all that stuff. And these people had the downspouts went down into the ground.
Norwell.
It was in Norwell. And it was a big house. And the downspouts came down into a piece of PVC. And they had a pipe underground, maybe 20 feet out to where the woods were for a runoff. I thought I seen a chipmunk running the pipe. I don't know where it went, but I was stressing how you have to keep those pipes clear. And I looked in one of those pipes, and it was like I was pulling out a mackerel. I just kept pulling it out, and it was like you said, in the gutter, with the standing water, things just build up. There was like moss, there was roots from whatever got up in that pipe. The pipe, it was probably a 4-inch diameter pipe, and it was reduced to maybe 2.5 inches with all the moss that had grown in it.
And we clean those.
And you go right down to where...
We'll snake them out if we can.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't spend a whole lot of time. If we can't snake it out after a
But would
20
would that be the same price? Would you charge extra for something like
No,
that?
we carry a snake with us. But
Excellent.
if that's failed, we do a lot of dry wells. And again, if you're running into the back of the woods, that's fortunate because we can probably get that through and break it through. If you have a dry well that's failed over a 10-year period, we'll put a new dry well in at an
really?
expense, yeah. And we do a lot of those. And we dig them all by hand. We take the grass out, we put it aside. So when we leave, you don't even know we're there.
So you guys are mainly you installation and maintenance, right?
Correct.
Now let's talk a little bit about installation, and we talked about this before the show. A lot of houses, the older homes, have the old style wood gutters, and those are just horrible. I remember when I was a young fella, one of my jobs, I had to oil the gutters with linseed oil.
Linseed oil.
But you had so much crud in there, like the grit from it comes off the shingles, the little rocks, the little tiny stones, and you had to clear those out, and it was always wet. And I mean, how are you going to get linseed oil to work if the gutter's just moldy and wet? So inevitably, if that's the right word, you're better off to, I mean, since the aluminum gutters came out on the market, they really haven't changed much, have they? I mean, I remember as a young kid putting them up. Maybe the hangers have changed, but maybe the density of the aluminum is a little thicker. I don't know.
Well, believe it or not, we do the wooden gutters. We clean them. We try not to install them because it is time-consuming and
Expensive.
extremely.
And that stuff's not. They're made out of fur.
Yep.
And it's what, a 4-inch swath?
4-inch.
It's narrow.
It's 2 actually inside to a 1-inch hole.
Yeah.
And when we clean them and oil them, we use a wire brush. And again, it's all, we have to look at the weather over a 4-day period.
Let it dry out a little.
Let it dry out, then we go back, and they're very expensive to upkeep too.
The maintenance on them, because we like I say, we put them on this big house, and that's what the architect called for because the look was, they wanted that look on the outside. And they were more trouble than they were worth because the corners had to be leaded. We had to lead the corners so they didn't leak. When you put they call them goosenecks. They might have another name for them, but we call them goosenecks. They go down and so you had to drill a hole out.
Right. We call them just sleeves now. Yep.
Yep. And we had to chisel out for the flange to fit down flush, and then you put a little tar, and then you have to use a copper tacks and try to get your fingers in there without killing yourself. You had to put tacks all the way around to hold that in, and it was a very time-consuming process to put up a wood gutter. And you had to use a 16-penny galvy nails, which always, the galvanized, once you hit it with a hammer, you lose the galvanized. They rust eventually. So if you can't use a stainless steel, aluminum, galvanized is okay, but in the long run, they do rust. I found that out with the the box nails they use on clapboards. They used to be, and they still use them. It's like a 4 or 5 penny box nail, and it's galvanized. But it has a reaction with the cedar. Something to do with someone told me there's a chemical reaction with the galvanized and
same
red.
with copper.
It turns black.
Right.
Yeah, copper too. Well, it's just not a good combination for something that you're not going to see it, but it's going to rust, and then the gutter's going to come loose on when you get ice in it or anything heavy sitting in it. So again, I've done some gutter installations. I'm not a pro at it, but again, I know, you know, I don't know the exact. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you hang a gutter, you snap a chalk line in the center. You hold your high point, and you drop it down depending on the length.
Depending on the pitch, yeah.
So it slopes?
And depending on what gutter you put up. We are selling probably 85 to 90% commercial gutter instead of residential now, which is, for us it's good, for the client I think it's better. The commercial gutter holds more than double the amount of water, which eliminates a downspout.
How's that?
Because we know we can get the flow of water on, say, a 400 square foot, 4 square, or 5. We only need 1 downspout for that, not 2.
Really?
So if you're running, say, a 34-foot colonial,
Yeah.
we can wrap that downspout on the side of the building, on the far side, not the driveway side, and hide it. People, what we try to do is hide the downspouts. The gutter blends with the house. It's architecturally pleasing if you get a nice gutter. The downspouts an eyesore, and they're all over the place, especially if you have a Victorian with a 5-foot section and a 4-foot section. We try to eliminate that, and with the commercial gutter, we can do that. And aesthetically, when we look up or anybody looks up, you can't tell the difference.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's just a little more money than the smaller one.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. That's interesting, because I never thought there was you call it a commercial gutter. I never thought there was such a thing, but it looks like a residential, only it's bigger.
Same thing, and when you put them side to side, you can't tell the difference. It's the depth and you know the height of the gutter itself. And we use residential downspouts. We don't go with the big 6-inch commercial downspout.
Okay.
And people love them, and just for the simple fact we can eliminate downspouts. And
That's a good thing.
yeah, and it's
'Cause
just
it's less-
especially on Victorian homes.
That's awesome. I just I didn't realize there was so many different things to consider with gutters, downspouts, all the maintenance that goes with it. But it's just, to me, it's like your furnace. You know, it's a part of your home. It's essential to work properly. And if it doesn't work properly, now you're going to have things backing up under your shingles. You know, and that's going to create rot if it gets behind the gutter. If it backs up, the gutter's clogged and it backs up, it's got to go somewhere, and some of it might want to try to go down behind, in which case you're going to get rotted fascia boards.
Right.
Now, when you take a gutter off a house and you're going to replace a new gutter, if you see the fascia board is compromised, if, like, say, it's rotted or starting to rot, what do you do in a case like that?
We always tell the client first, when we spec it out, when we look and we'll measure it out, the variable, the question mark is always if we run into rotted wood. We're going with an AZAC or, you know, the wood that just doesn't rot.
The
composite.
The AZAC, that's the brand name, PVC.
Yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful stuff.
and that's all we use, and then we paint, prime, everything, every house, every time before we put a gutter up.
So you do the whole kit and caboodle. You don't have to tell them to get a carpenter to come and do it. You do it while you're there.
No,
you'd have to come back, obviously. and
Well,
probably
I mean,
do
a
it.
lot of people always ask, because, I mean, we're dealing on older homes sometimes and the soffit's rotted. And we'll go, no, we can't get into that, because every time we open something like that up, and you know, it's a can of worms.
Oh, yeah.
So the fascia boards, we stop here, because we're hanging what we have to hang on, you know, nice fresh wood. So we try to stop it at that point.
I see. And then do you tell them to call in a carpenter who would do a more thorough investigation as he's tearing it off, in which case I've done things like that myself, and I know exactly what you're talking about. You get into a can of worms where the water might have been leaking down, maybe the soffit's starting to rot too, in which case now you're getting into a little bit more. But again, you know, you wouldn't want to put a brand new gutter onto something that was already rotting, and then a year later, you got to tear it all off to replace it.
We did a house 2 weeks ago in Cohasset, beautiful older home, and we're dealing with wood gutters. And a bay window, we have to wrap that, which is, as you know, is a pain, because you're cutting everything at 22-degree angles. He had a water issue. we knew then that the water issue wasn't at the window. It was above on a pigeon, a little pigeon walk that wrapped around, all wooden gutters. He needed that done too. So we got halfway into this, and it was extensive, and we had to back off and put lead up, block everything up, and said, you have to get a contractor in here because we can't hang this, because we know he's going to take this all down to fix what you need fixed.
Because he's going to think the gutters are going to fix the problem, and he's still going to have a problem, and then it's going to be, you're going to be called, up and say, they're going to kind of say, well, why'd you put these gutters on top of rotten wood?
Exactly, and
So-
we just don't. We helped him. He had a contractor. We explained. It just so happens my partner down the Cape, like you, is a builder. So we kind of went down the whole list of what he needed done, what he needed fixed. And we had all the gutters cut. They're actually sitting in the backyard. And he said, once you get them fixed, we'll be more than happy to come back and do this, but fix your house first. The gutters are not going to help this problem. So we try to educate as much as we possibly can. We never take advantage. We're not throwing a gutter up just to take a check and leave. That's not who we are. I'd say probably 95% of our clients that we do installs for, and we're not the cheapest, and we tell people this right over the phone, are repeat customers that we've cleaned over the years, and they trust what we do and what we give. And we hang a gutter, we'll guarantee it for 25 years.
So you're just not two guys with a pickup truck. You're reputable, you've been around, you probably get insurance and everything, all the ducks in a row, so people, if something goes bad, you can be reached.
All the above, and we always, while my wife's out in the other room, we always answer the phone, and we call back the very same day. Our business model.
Service today it's a dying art, and we all know what that's all about. When you go to have something serviced and you get the voicemail and they don't call you back, and it's a good thing when that's probably why your business is thriving so well, because you have repeat customers and they refer you to other people, friends of theirs.
And thank God that that's working. All of the business models that you learn in Business 101 in high school are all coming to a head where referrals. The advertisement works to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing a good job out there, you will be out of business.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't call people back and you don't treat people well, the way you wanted to get treated, you're going to fail at this.
Well, today more so, because with social media, they put it out there, that this guy is, didn't come back, and I've seen it. I've seen people put it on the internet, mainly Facebook, social media. Mm-hmm. By the way, are you on social media?
We do. I do have a Facebook.
There you go. Well, you can also.
And I don't have it personally. My wife. So she.
I find that to be a great resource for putting your work out there. You're taking pictures of your work. You put it on, like they have these different local towns have different little communities.
Like
Connect.
Rockland Connect.
Yeah, Rockland Hub, I think they call it.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. A lot of business from that.
I get a lot of inquiries. I did some small stuff not too long, and I put a few posts on them, the picture before and after type picture, and it's amazing how many people actually commented, and I've got a few phone calls, a few inquiries. So it's all good. It's good, and this is good too to get the word out to everybody, and include myself. I mean, I'm probably going to have you come out in the spring and probably do my gutters, because I'm not climbing ladders at my age. It's getting really tough, and I don't even.
I understand.
It's not even climbing the ladder anymore. It's moving it. I get that big tall ladder, and I'm trying to walk it. And it's.
You have the tools. Most people get up there and they want to clean, and they don't have the tools on them. And the gutter's loose, and they figure, well, if I clean it, it'll be okay. We strap everything down. Yeah. All our tool belts, our tools, our drills, screws, flat bars, whatever, hammers, whatever we need, we have right there. We're not getting down off that ladder.
But it's time. It's also a good time for you to be efficient like that, because the faster you get it done, the faster you can get off the property and maybe go to another project.
It's 45 minutes to an hour every house.
So you get it pretty well down to a science.
Yeah, and people look at us like, did you clean them? Yeah, we cleaned them, and we added 4 elbows and 3 or 4 straps, and we blew your roof off because the pine needles were, and people look like, really? I go, well, come take a look, we'll walk around.
Yeah.
And we blew the roof off because I don't want you calling me in a week going, my gutters are filled, because you had all kinds of pine needles in your valleys. We took care of that prior to cleaning your gutters.
How many people you send out to a job usually?
2 for a team, two guys.
Two men.
Yep.
And they got all the ladders and everything on the trucks?
On the
everything?
truck, everything's there. All the
Wow.
spare parts we load up every morning.
That's
So-
fantastic. Where's your shop out of?
Out of Pembroke.
Oh, so you're based out of the South Shore? Right?
Absolutely.
Wow, so there you have it. And it's just, I mean, I could talk about this for an hour. There's so much more. One more quick thing. How many different colors do they have now? I know that years ago it was brown,
I'll tell you
white,
what,
and
I don't have my
black.
truck. There's a color wheel that they give us. There's so many different kinds. We do Pine Hills a lot. I didn't think there was that many different kinds of gutters. We stay with one stationary, so
Sure.
we've been up there forever, but there's all colors, copper, brown,
Oh,
white,
my word.
yellow, green, it doesn't
Hunter
matter.
green, yeah. And you guys also, quickly, because we're running low on time, but we talked about it before, but you mentioned you had a gutter making machine. You make the gutters right on site?
We do. And lucky enough, we have plenty of help. So if you had a 150-foot run, most gutter guys can't do that. They'd go, ooh, no.
That's a lot of gutters.
I need 9 guys, 9 ladders, and we have to get that up there because it's
Wow.
one piece.
That's crazy.
So we have that ability to do that. So yeah, we do commercial, we do residential, we pull right up, we get everything, we take everything down, prep everything, and believe it or not, it's a couple of hours and we're out of there.
Wow, that's fantastic. What a business. What a business. I'm telling you, I didn't realize it was such a great business, but you sound like you're doing very well and you're being very successful.
Thank you.
Well, Darrell, why don't you, one more time before we close it up, just give the viewers a quick rundown of your website, and maybe you have an email address, a phone number they can reach you at?
Well, SouthShoreGutterMonkeys.com, email. Go on, take a look at the 10-point topside inspection. We take care of the roof. We let everybody know what's going on the roof and the chimneys. Because we're up there, we don't do anything, but we let people know. You can contact us, 781-421-1111, and we'll be more than happy to take care of you.
There you go. And how could you forget that name, South Shore Gutter Monkeys? I love it. Where'd you come up with that?
The gentleman down the Cape figured it out a couple of years ago, and I loved it. I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm definitely doing it. So
Yeah, and how long you been in business?
a couple of years now.
Well, good for you. You sound like you're doing really, what did you do before this?
I was in trash and recycle for 30
Oh,
years.
wow. Oh, my word. So you knew a lot about aluminum.
Absolutely.
Well, that's good. They're still made out of aluminum, right? Thank
Abs-
goodness, because
yes,
they're
they
nice
are.
and light. And it bends easy when you're molding.
And I save all the old aluminum because I want to cash it in.
God bless you. I used to do that. I used to do that with storm windows, all the storm windows.
Yeah.
Used to put in replacement windows, so I know what that's all about. So, well, that just about does it for this show. I want to thank all our loyal viewers for the emails and the comments on all our shows that they've watched. We're happy to be here and bring some of this great information to the viewers about home improvement, home repair. And if you could use Darrell's services, give him a call, look him up. I might certainly do it myself in the spring, believe me. So thanks for watching. We really appreciate your viewers. And until the next time, you've been watching Around the House. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien.